same line of thought, following the same line of discovery, following the same line of pattern. You can see now India has become most populated country. If you compare the people, how populated India is and how populated America is, when you compare the population of Europe and other European countries with that of India, if you compare the population of India with Australia and some other countries, you can know very beautifully, very easily, you can grasp that there are plenty of resources, and India is not having so much resources in comparison to its population. So the same line of thought, the same line of development cannot go here. Second point to note, when you base your development on a materialistic foundation, you try to use the resources as much as possible. That happened in West, that happened in America, and that also happened in China. But nowadays people are talking about another issue, sustainable development. The idea is this one, that what we are following and how we are moving, it is no way sustainable now. Because when resources are plenty and people are less, in that situation it can go if you exploit the nature, if you exploit the resources. But when people are so many and you are exploiting in the same way the nature, you are not going to develop, but your situation is going to be worse. And now all the countries, the Western countries and all other countries also, realizing this issue, realizing this problem. So what could be the philosophy on which we can base the development? Therefore, when we have found this topic, philosophy of Sri Shankaracharya for a Vikasit Bharat, it is a good idea to explore how philosophy of Acharya Shankara can make room for the development of country. You can compare that in the same way it cannot be helpful, but in another way it could be much more helpful. In Gaudapada Karika, we find a sloka, Parasparam viruddhyante tairayam na viruddhyate swasiddhant vyavasthasu dvaitino nishchita dridham Parasparam viruddhyante tairayam na viruddhyate. All the dualist philosophies always fight with each other because they are very much confident about the truth of their own theories. But this philosophy never opposes any other philosophy. It never fights with other philosophies because there is a room for all other philosophies. You can see that in this philosophy there is a room for Charvak philosophy also, materialist philosophy also. When you go through the Vedanta Sar, written by Sadananda, the philosophies all are counted there, and the first philosophy is propounded as Charvak philosophy. When you go through Madhavacharya's works, Sarva Siddhanta Sangraha, Sarvadarshan Sangraha. It begins with Charvaka philosophy and ends with Advaita philosophy. What does it say? It clearly indicates that there is a room for all the philosophies. No philosophy can be rejected completely, because all the philosophies have some purpose. In Upanishads we find one shloka, Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastad vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya mritam ashnure. So we take care for both Vidya and Avidya. Avidya is not that which has to be given up completely, because Avidya has also some function to perform, and those functions cannot be performed by Vidya. Therefore, one has to know both Vidya and Avidya both. Because when you know Avidya, you can go beyond Mrityu, beyond death. And through Vidya, you can get immortal. Vidyaya mritam ashnute, amritatvam ashnute. You can get amritatva. So our purpose is to get amritatva. But this is not to say that we have to reject this world. There is a clear-cut misunderstanding that Acharya Shankara completely rejected this world and completely propounded that this world is unreal. The true picture of Acharya Shankara's philosophy is this one, that this world is not real, not unreal, rather it is mithya, anirvachaniya. Sat Satbhyam anirvachaniya. You cannot say that this is Sat, you cannot say this is Asat. So this is a philosophy of a higher order. But this philosophy of higher order makes a room for all other philosophies. And I think here the value of this philosophy is inherent. Because you can have all other philosophies from different perspectives, but you have to be very careful. Suppose one is willing to achieve the peak of the mountain, you cannot go directly. You have to follow all the paths. You have to go step by step. You cannot go directly. And if one tries to go directly, he is not going to succeed. So all these philosophies are having some stepping stones. And all the philosophies have something to offer. So if you think where I started the point, this materialist philosophy has to offer something for the betterment of society. It has to invent. On the basis of this materialist philosophy, you can invent, you can make so many things. You can base science on it. But if you limit, that's only that what is achievable through our senses, through the experiments, only that is the reality, only that is the area of our knowledge, then you are going to get confused. This will be a completely misunderstanding. Here Acharya Shankara's philosophy guides us. So when we are talking about the development of India, we are not talking about the development of India in the same terms as the Western countries got developed. We talk about India where there be development of the outer faculties, and also there should be one understanding of our better inner world. And if that is the case, then only you can say that you have realized. Because in our tradition, it is said that the purpose of life is fourfold: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And all these purposes are to be fulfilled one after another, without destructing any one of them. So, true development lies in the fact that all the people are given the opportunity to fulfill these goals of life. And how it will be possible? This is to say, there are certain needs, common needs, and those common needs should be fulfilled. So the first idea that everybody should achieve what is achievable. Development is not actually in this way, where a person is having so many things and others are not having anything. Development of country is inherent on this idea that how basic needs of all the people are fulfilled. So this is a common responsibility. It cannot be achieved only through government. But the common people, the common men of the country have to work for this purpose to make India developed. Everybody has to offer something from his own side. And this can be done if we take into consideration this idea of Acharya Shankara, where it is said, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. This is actually the prime purpose to think of. When you take the philosophy of Acharya Shankara, in one Upanishad it is said, Tatra ko moha kaha shokaha ekatvam anupashyatah. Where there could be a moha. Moha means confusion. Actually, the problems which we are facing are actually products of our confusion. The confusion is this one, that we all are not realizing the true nature of ourselves. And this is the purpose of human life. Therefore it is said, Manushyam janma durlabha. The human life is durlabha. Because nobody else, no one else can realize this fact. Only the human beings are having such a capacity, such a capability to realize this truth. So, ko moha, kaha shokaha, ekatvam anupashyatah. When you realize oneness of everything. So, when it in Upanishads it is said, nehananaste kinchan. That is actually propounding non-duality of nature. So, this non-dualist philosophy presents one idea to get everybody identical with the knower. Because when you realize your true nature, you are not different from others. And in that situation, whatever you perform, that is actually for the sake of the society, for the sake of the country, and at the end, for the sake of whole world. Therefore, there is a term, and it is also used so many times, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is a family. And actually, the world is family in this way that nobody else is taken to be different. Everybody must be taken in connection with each other. So Acharya Shankara's philosophy gives insights for the development of country, and in this situation, when the country is divided in thought of many, because some people consider that one part of country is more important than others. Some part of country deserves something more, and some part of country deserves something different. So in that way, when you make a distinction between this country, when you divide the country in different parts, there is no possibility of development. When you are united, then only the country can progress. The country can get developed. So this philosophy of Acharya Shankara made a room for this unification. In the morning session, I had been listening to one paper, and it was very beautifully explored that when Acharya Shankara propounded this philosophy, he also preached in this country, one feet here and another there. In Jyotirmath, in Uttarakhand, in Dwaraka, in Odisha, in Kanchi, Sringeri, and in this way he made a unification of this country. And also he is a propounder of Advaita philosophy, but he propounded Panchadevopasanas. These two appear to be these two appear to be contradictory. When you are propounding that there is one reality, why are you accepting Panchadevopasana, worshipping of 5 gods? Because he makes a room for this diversity. And when you are understanding Acharya Shankara's philosophy, this is a very good synthesis of duality and non-duality. Because there is duality at one level and non-dualism at another level. When you talk about the country, you can see that country is one at one level, higher level, and it is having many states, many dualities, many differences at a different level. And we need not make these two apparent or contradictory. So for the development of India, which is a diverse country, when you take a holy dip in Ganga or in Kaveri, you remember all the 7 rivers, Gange, Yamune, Cheva, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalasmin, Sannidhem. So actually, you realize the unity of this country. You remember this unity of this country. And there could be no better bedrock than this philosophy of Acharya Shankar, where he is propounding the unity of this world, non-dualism, and also accepting duality at another level. Therefore, in modern times, when Vivekananda visited so many countries, delivered his talk in Chicago, and also thought about the development of India, he has taken the philosophy of Acharya Shankara as a paradigm of thought. And he gave this philosophy another name, practical Vedanta. Whenever I read Vivekananda, I find no difference rather than the assertion of Acharya Shankara's philosophy in different words. And he thought that actually India can lead the world. India can develop. India can get modern. And imagine the time when Vivekananda was born. India was not free. And at that time, Vivekananda thought that the true progress of India can be only possible if India followed the philosophy of Acharya Shankar. So we have to think about it, how this philosophy can guide us in different directions and how India can get developed by 2047. Thank you very much.